Hey there guys, Coach Ben here, and in this video what I'm going to be explaining to you is the Rpe scale, what that actually means and how it applies to you in your training. So the biggest problem I see with people when they're training in the gym is that they're going in and they're going through the motions, they're getting hot and getting sweaty, but they're not really seeing any significant progress. Their weights aren't going up, they're not really getting any stronger, and they're just not seeing any changes with themselves in the mirror. And this comes down to one or two things. Most of the time it's to do with their diet, but it also comes down to how effective their training is and how hard they're actually working versus what they think they're doing. When it comes to strength training, the aim of the game is to be lifting a heavier weight every time you go into the gym, right? Because what we want to be doing is producing more and more stress on the body, so then it has to grow and adapt and we can put on some more muscle mass. The more muscle mass we have, the easier it is to get leaner, and the more toned we then start to look, the more shape and definition your muscles start to have. So what I mean by that is your body is an adaptive organism. It adapts and changes to the environment and the amount of stress that it's placed under. When we do strength training, that is applying a certain stress to the body that then triggers a reaction. If we stress it out enough, using strength training and stress on the muscles on the central nervous system, what it does is it recovers and it adapts by building more dense and more muscle fibers. What that means is we now have more muscle mass, but in order to do that, we need to apply a significant amount of stress. And when we apply a significant amount of stress and our body grows and adapts, we need to then apply a slightly higher stimulus to keep growing that same effect. And what this then happens is people build up a tolerance to their training, but their training never changes. They keep going through the motions and doing the same kind of stuff with the same kind of weights, and their bodies never change. This is where the Rpe scale comes into play. And Rpe stands for the rate of perceived exertion, how hard you actually think something is versus how hard it really is. So the biggest complaint we get when we're talking to people about strength training, oh, it feels heavy. Okay, word of advice, you're doing strength training, it is always going to feel heavy. The aim of the game is moving a weighted object from point A to point B in order to stimulate muscle growth or to stimulate a change within your body and to improve your strength. If you want to get stronger, you need to lift heavier weights. The weights are always going to feel heavy. You need to come to terms with that before we can move on. Now, how hard you actually think it is versus how hard it actually is are two very different things. So if it feels heavy, it could feel heavy somewhere down here where it's only a 5 to 6 effort out of 10. What that means is, guys, if you're doing a 6 rep set of bench press and you've done your 6 reps and it felt heavy, but you put it back on the rack and you sit up, you go, man, I probably could have done 4 or 5 more if I really wanted to. That would be a 5 to 6 out of 10, okay? It's only halfway to your maximum potential, the maximum amount you could have done. And if you're constantly training somewhere below your maximum potential, you're probably not causing enough stress on your body for it to then stimulate a change, meaning your training's a waste of time. Okay, you're going in, you're getting hot and getting sweaty, you're feeling your muscles doing the work, but you're not really pushing yourself hard enough for it to stimulate more muscle growth and to stimulate a change. So what you need to be doing is ranking each set, okay, and the weights that you've used. You need to use pen and paper to track your weights and record the amount of effort you're putting in for every set. Now, if you've just done 4 sets of bench press, as prescribed on your program, and the hardest that you only push yourself was maybe 7 out of 10, okay, say your first set you start off with 60 kilos and it was a 5 or 6 out of 10, then you went up to 65 kilos and it was maybe a 7 out of 10, and then you stayed there for 2 more sets because it kind of felt heavy. It probably wasn't heavy enough to really push yourself and really stimulate change. What you want to be doing is sitting somewhere around the 8 to 10 mark, okay? Especially for your last few sets. You really want to give it everything you've got so you can stimulate change and make sure that your body's going to grow and adapt to your training. And that's how you grow more muscle mass, that's how you get stronger, it's also how you get leaner. So the biggest thing you need to start doing is start ranking your training sessions. Now what this means is a 10 out of 10 maximum effort on the Rpe scale means you had no repetitions left over that you could have possibly done. That 10 out of 10 means that you did your 6 reps and that was it. Your arms nearly fell off, you really struggled for that last rep and there's no way you could have done another one. Okay, 9 out of 10 means you had maybe 1 rep left. You probably were busting your ass and you might have only had 1 more. 8 to 10, it was really hard, but you probably could have squeezed out maybe another 1 or 2. 7 out of 10, yeah, it was hard, but you probably could have done 2 or 3 more. It's kind of comfortable. And then 5 to 6 out of 10, it's pretty easy. You've got another 4 or 5 reps in you. And then 3 to 4 out of 10, you've still got another 6 or 7 to go. That would be classed as like a warm-up set. And then 1 to 2 out of 10 is little to no effort at all. All right, guys, so what you need to do is come to terms with how hard you think you're training versus how hard you're really training, and start ranking your sets and seeing where the holes in your training program are, making sure you're pushing yourself to be better than you were last week and to cause enough stress through your training that your body then has to grow and adapt as a result of this. Use the RPE scale to manage your training and monitor how hard you're really pushing yourself, and make sure you're continually making progress. Thanks for watching, guys. This is the RPE scale. If you've got any questions about it, pop them up in the comment section below. I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. Cheers for watching.